Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, my fellow Chibits. Today, I'm here to bring all of you my weekly anime review of Gintama 2015. So we have one more episode, if I am correct, until we get our Shogun assassination arc. So next week, if I'm correct, is going to be the final comedy episode. I gotta admit, I'm pretty damn hyped. After that trailer we got last week, and then knowing that we're gonna finally get the past revealed, my hype is at an all-time high. So, I just want to quickly give you all some information, because some have been asking for the past couple weeks, and I have said it in the comments, but some of you might not know what I've said in the comments. So yes, I will be doing live reactions for the Shogun assassination arc. I'm an anime only. There is many manga readers that have asked me to do a live reaction to the arc, or live reaction to the episodes, and I will be doing that, so do not worry about that for this upcoming arc, and I will share my experience with all of you. Now that I've said that, let's dive into this episode. So this episode, it focuses around Shachi and him wanting to be a mangaka, or him having romance trouble. And I guess this episode is what I've been missing for the past couple weeks, because there's been a lack of real good romance anime this season, and seeing this episode of Gintama, I was actually very satisfied, because I feel like I've been away from romance for so long since, the end of last season. Seeing an episode of Gintama kind of focus a little bit around that made me a little bit happy. I mean, getting to see how, Shachi wanted to get with the sensei and then was trying to confess to her through the manga, I couldn't help but laugh. It was a really funny ordeal in the first half of the episode, and in the second half, that's an entirely different matter that was funny, but I will save that for last. So the first half is romance related, and if you love romance, and if you love Gintama and you like romance with Gintama, I think you might like, the first half of this episode quite a bit. Now, if you're not a fan of romance, however, well, I think your reaction will be quite the opposite. You're probably not going to really like the episode. But seeing how Shachi actually made a return in this, and I didn't expect to see him actually come back. I mean, I remember him from a long time ago, from an earlier episode, and I never thought we would probably see him again, but we actually did. We get to see him in this episode. Gentoki's giving him advice about his manga, how he could get with the girl, and then also the fencing thing, like how the manga turned from what it was into, like, fencing. I'm like, what the fuck? So, this right here, I gotta point out the tone shifts. That's the first thing I need to look at, okay? And when it came to the manga being wrote, okay, the tone shifts from, like, having it to where the girl dies, the sensei dies, to all of a sudden the match, like, versing, the fencing match. The tone shift was like, what? Like, it was like from a death to, like, a comedy moment and then a fight. And I'm like, the tone shift. Like, it just felt like an entirely different series. I'm like, whoa. And then you have it to where we come to see the second half of the episode with, like, the offer comments, like how the assistants were using the offer comments to be able to kind of relay their thoughts. And it's pretty funny, because I actually read the weekly offer comments of what each individual mangaka of Weekly Shonen Jump writes, and seeing how that was kind of used as, like, a comedy point of the episode, of how the assistants were writing in there discussing, like, their issues with their sensei, and, like, oh, like, he's so bad, like, I did it on purpose, like, I wrote on his face on purpose, or whatever. It was pretty funny. I got a good laugh out of it, because, I mean, it's just interesting to see how, like, a mangaka, since a mangaka is the one that actually wrote this. Let's really look at the facts here. A mangaka wrote this chapter, since it was a manga at first. A mangaka wrote this, and it was kind of like a mangaka making fun of himself, in a little bit, because the way the assistants are. I wonder if assistants have ever tried to do something like that. I mean, if they've tried to go to that extent of, like, an afterword or something that we got to see in this episode. And that's about it. I mean, this episode of Gintama, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, anyone could possibly get it, and there's not really much meaning overall to this episode besides certain few things, but it's not really that much I can really dive into. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.